Good evening, Purple Rain crew, and welcome to our TLT live show, round 23. What's a Tuesday night TLT without a technical glitch? I've had to restart this. Hopefully no one tried to join the original live, but we are live and cooking. Azza, how are you, man?
Yep, really good. Really good. Pretty cruisy in my world at the moment. I've just been taking it easy and trying to lose a few kilos, actually. The last week's been a bit of a grind, trying to drop a few kegs.
What are you losing kegs for?
I don't know. I was just carrying a bit of a spare tyre there. I've been a bit lazy of late, so I'm dialing back in.
I'm just tagging the followers. We are live. Get in, comment, have some fun on the Tuesday evening. Bam. Followers are tagged. Okay. I mean, I only look at you in a screen, so I don't know where the rest of you are, mate. But I don't know. I don't know if you needed to lose those kegs, but hey, we all get there. Unfortunately, I lost like 15 kilos last year because I got pneumonia, the flu B, and then I ended up losing it all, and I haven't been able to I haven't put it back on, which has been good.
Yeah, no, I put a few on over the winter, so I'm just going to shed that winter weight, I think.
That's classic Melbourne. Like, that's what you do, right?
Oh.
You put on your winter coat and then you lose it off for summer.
Well, that's pretty much it. Up and down like a yo-yo.
G'day, Terry. We're here. We are talking TLT. It's our live show, as everyone is starting to come to get used to. 7:30 on Tuesdays. It's round 23. We play the Eagles. Saturday Arvo game. It is our home game, but it is in Perth. That it will be at 3 p.m. for everyone over on our side of the world. It is also Indigenous round for us. So we have our awesome Indigenous jerseys, which we have spoken about. We'll do a couple more things as we go along during the week, but it is Indigenous round and the Storm are wearing it this week. And just a quick plug to anyone and everyone that listens, Freedom Finance. Give Con a call for your mortgage needs to put some extra money in your pocket. Premium Sports Tours, the champions over there, have organised a really good trip to get as many Purple fans across to Vegas for round 1 in 2027. Get around them. All the links will be in the bio when I post this out. Mate, that's pretty much it. Let's get into it because it's a pretty full-on bloody TLT tonight.
Yeah, we've got a few topics to discuss. I mean, that one there, we'll probably just discuss it before we start, the storm to HBF Park. And a lot of fans out there are saying, oh, we've sold a home game and we've lost another one of our home games. And now we're left with 11. And you know, the conversation is that memberships keep going up and then members are losing home games to interstate matches. But it's not overly true because in the past, we've always sold one somewhere. I mean, we've sold to Magic Round for the last few years. And in the past, we've gone to Perth 6 times. It's not like this is anywhere near our first venture over there. We've been there 6 times, once to Optus and 5 times before to HBF Park. So we've got a good, decent record. We've won 2, lost 2 and drawn 1 over there. And this was just about the Perth government trying to raise some awareness for the new team next year. They've come in, obviously, with a good deal, a bit of extra money. And as we all know, Storm's privately owned by the bigwigs there, and the board have just decided that this is financially the best way to go this particular year. And they've sold this home game to Perth. And like going forward, 2027, the Storm have already sold their one for Vegas as well. So nothing's new there. We aren't losing a home game. We've just changed the destination of that home game for the year.
Exactly right. Yep. Manly still are travelling. We have to travel. It's still our home game. It is. We will get all the benefits of that, but it is what it is. G'day Drake, g'day Matthew, g'day Sean and Terry. Let's get straight into it and kick off. Guys, as you come in, comment through, let us know, have a chat. Let's turn this into a bit of a chat. We've certainly loved the live shows recently, and the more people keep coming in, the the better the conversations have been. But we play Manly, and I'll start with us. So Sua in the fullback, with STB or Tuamalaru Brown and Leo in the wings, or on the wings, with Jack Howarth returns from his injury, with Nick Meaney in the other centre. We've got Munster returns from his injury very quick. We will talk about that later, or not too far away. Partnered by Hayden Watson in the other half at the 7. Props Stefano and King, with Tyrone Wishart officially starting at the 9. Cooper Clark and Keeley round out the edges, with lock is Trent Liero, with Trent Tolau pushes to the 14. Blore, Mawali, Hinchy, Chan and Hetherington on the bench. On the Sea Eagles side, Hopewadi in fullback, still no Turbo. Saab and Wilson on the wings, with Cooler and Garrick in the centres. Joey Walsh and Jamal Fogarty in the halves, with Paseka and Bullimore at prop, and Wakeham comes in at hooker for them. Ola Kawatu and Waddell on the edges, with Gerbo, Jake Trbojevic, as captain in the 13. And I forgot to mention who our captain is. It's not on the NRL website. Jake Simpkin at 14, Brown at 15, Lafai, Baker, Sherab, and Falidi. Yeah, they haven't actually, the NRL has not put a captain sign next to one of our players. I'd assume King gets it again, considering he had it last week.
It depends. I suppose if Munster plays, they might give it to Munster. But yeah, Kingy or Munster will be the go.
So, huge news, obviously. Let's basically pre-TLT announcement. The odds were Storm $2.46, Manly at $1.55. Post-TLT, it's come into $2.13, with Manly at $1.72, and it's still the same now. Off the back of Howarth returning, Munster returning, it's pulled us in a few cents.
Yeah, obviously the Munster one, adds a bit of leadership there and a bit of experience there in the halves. When last week we were, very very green. Not green. I mean, we had some experienced players, but it's a green halves pairing for sure. So Munster does help there. I also seen on the other side, Kobe Hetherington done his bicep. Injured his bicep, tore off the bone in training this week. So not having Kobe Hetherington and having to shuffle their pack a little bit probably hurts them a little bit as well. So, I still think we fairly go in outsiders, but I definitely think this is a game we can win. We just need to play well. Our halves are, if it's Munster and Watson, I'm excited to see how this works.
Oh, absolutely. Now, shout out to Jack Howarth. That's 50 NRL games this week. If he gets up and plays, he is named to start, so you'd assume he will. But here's where it is. Millie has come through. Millie, I think this is the first time I've seen you, buddy. Welcome to the show. And Millie's come off with a really nice comment. Hi all, thoughts on Munster being back? Now, just quickly, we feel like it's very early, don't we, Aaron? It was 2 to 4 weeks. Could have been the whole season. It's been 2. Let's talk about that, Aaron.
I went back and I just looked, when the dates were around this. Like once we seen him named back today, the first thing I text, as soon as Team List Tuesday dropped, I text Trav and Jess and just said, is that too early? Like, is he coming back? Are we rushing him, or do we need to play him, kind of thing? And we definitely don't need to play him. We've got nothing. When I say we've got nothing to play for, we're not playing for finals anymore. So it's not like we're do or die. So, taking a risk would be silly. But, Munster finished Origin, that's 4 weeks ago tomorrow. So 4 weeks ago since the injury was at its worst, and he would have had surgery very soon after that. NRL physio said at that time that it was Munster called it a grumbly knee, and he said that he had a little bit of cartilage at the back of his knee, which was flicking, when his knee would rotate, it was flicking inside the joint. And as he played on it, he thinks during Origin what happened is a piece of that knee disconnected from the cartilage and was starting to float around in his knee. And then he thinks he put more, like he injured his knee a little bit more running on that floating bit of cartilage. Obviously, they've pulled that out. And last week we seen footage of him running pretty well at training. So whether he's ready to play a full game of footy, I'm not sure. But definitely he was running last week, and it's been 3 weeks in surgery, and the NRL physio said this is usually a 3 to 4 week injury. So I think he's going to be line ball, and I think they've put him there just to give him the chance. Whether he gets up or not is yet to be seen, but the way the bench lines up with Toll out 14 and Satrick in the extended bench, there's a very simple cover there, and it's it's primed and ready to go. Satrick might become 14, Tolau will go into the halves, Satrick will cover Tolau. Satrick will cover Wishy at some point during the game.
Interesting. Yeah, look, I find it funny. Like, you wouldn't pick him and take him to Perth if he wasn't healthy enough to play. So I think it's just literally what it's going to be like once he gets over there. He trains and goes from there. I think, and as I said, I fully trust our medical team. You want me to go on the conspiracy little theory here?
Yeah,
go. Yeah, I know you.
All right. That. Well, this is a bit of a different one, but Danny Kent was saying the other week that maybe Cameron Munster's looking for a deal in Perth, and maybe Cameron Munster's just going over there, and he might want to have a little chat with the Perth Bears because the
Storm gives him a free trip over.
Yeah, well, that's it. I don't think they do it intentionally, but Munster says, yeah, I'm good to go, mate. Let's go. Get over there and Mal, might have a chat with Mal. And I know they can't make a formal deal, but, maybe Munster's going to have a few chats.
They can't make a formal deal, and we've only released him to talk to PNG. So let's just see. Drake's asked a good question. Where is it? Here it is. Mikey has asked a good question. G'day, gents. Your thoughts on Watson and Munster's pairing on the halves? It's different to what it would have been with if last week. Obviously, they're both very much runners. The chaotic ball is there, but I like it. I really like this. Like, Watson is not going to be a halfback as such. When it's not a Jerome Hughes type thing, but I think Watson's attack and play through the middle against Kickout last week was just immense. I think he can really have a great session this week against Manly.
Look, I've seen Watson run really well last week, pick his moments, and when he had the ball, he either holds the ball out in front of himself and skips on the outside, and when he gets the ball out in front, the defenders don't know how to take him, whether he's going to do that quick step and turn of pace, or he's going to straighten up. And there's a few times in the game last week where he actually dug really deep into the line and put his body on the line and took a big hit and got our outside men some space there. So I actually think that Watson this week with Munster might be able to play that traditional 7 a bit more. And I've seen it in the Queensland under-19s game. He's definitely got that game management, kicking game in him. I think we might see it a little bit more this week now that he's got Munster, who is more known for that, eyes up, running, chaos style. I think that gives Hayden a bit more chance to really try and control the team and lead it round.
Drake, I think, is living in la land like me and you, Aaron, as well. In the last 5, that puts us on 30 points. Will that still be a chance to make the top 8? I mean, it will be, assuming that Newcastle don't win another game, the Souths don't win at least 2 games, Bulldogs don't win games, Cowboys don't win games, and Manly don't win games. Like, we're 3 games away from we're 3 games away from 7th, 4 games away from Newcastle in 6th. What's your thoughts there, Aaron? Is there any hope?
I wouldn't say there's hope. There's a chance, but it would be a miracle. I'm not going to go with there's hope. I'm not in that. I think it's not going to happen, basically. If it did happen, I would be absolutely stunned because it's going to take some serious results to go every single one of them go our way.
Yes, exactly. Do we want to get into Terry's question here, or will I save it for later?
I've seen the email, so I actually know what she's talking about. So I can kind of
go. I can put it up, but 3/4 of it doesn't show. I'll
basically
read it. I'll read it for everyone who
is
not able to read it, and for the podcast. So, Terry has said, I have a question for everyone. Did Craig's presser offend anyone? I have a friend who emailed the club saying she was disgusted that due to DV, Craig said he was going to punch the shit out of his grandchildren's teddy bears. She said, would you be saying... Oh, hang on. She said, would you be saying that if Craig was threatening to punch his wife? She's also cancelled her membership. She's even mentioned that on the Melbourne Storm official page. I didn't find it offensive at all. So, yeah, she's really angered me. What are your thoughts? Cam said he'd stay as long as Craig is... Oh, that's another point. All right, Aaron, go.
Yeah, basically the email was just saying that this lady wasn't going to renew her membership next year because, because Craig's brought up violence. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but this is
what sort of game are we playing? Are we playing, heads down, thumbs up?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, this is why the world's fucked, because some people just take things too seriously and they're fucking idiots. So that's my take on it. I think that's ridiculous, man. He didn't say he's going to go punch his wife. To even mention that is just... It's just bizarre. Like, pull your head in. That's great, Shannon. I love it.
I think that email, when I saw that, I didn't want to give any airtime to it because I just thought it was a fucking piss take, right? I understand DV. I get all this stuff that's out there. I do get it, but context really, like, this is ridiculous. This is just him saying he was going to go and he's going to go and vent on a teddy bear. Like, it's not even a, why is this even a point? And this is the thing. That lady, Terry, I'm sorry if that's a friend of yours or you said it was, but you're saying that you're pissed at her too, is just one of those people that finds a reason to complain or bitch or moan at any stage that they can. It's as simple as that. That's all it is. Like, it's piss week. If you're going to cancel your membership, sweet. There'll be someone that'll take your membership straight away. Just like that. Who cares? Like,
yeah,
I'm just,
that's the airtime it gets.
Done with it, with these cancelized people that are out there at the moment.
Yeah, let's just give that. That's its airtime. It's ridiculous, and don't be that person. It's just Karen behaviour.
Karen. Craig was only joking. Tell your friend to take a pill and relax. He didn't say he was going to. And as I said, the game is not. We're not playing heads down, thumbs up, right? The game is violent. Like, this is what we do. This is what it is, you know. These are big boys, big muscly dudes running at each other with a ball and trying to stop them from going past them. And it's not, it's not touch or anything like that. It's full blown tackling. It's fucking disgrace. I'm sorry to swear, but with all the people, we've got a few people on now live at the moment. But yeah, it's a disgrace. So, as I said, I'll say see you later to that person. Now let's get back onto the game. So, Aaron. I like our lineup. There was a comment that came through around because of the Jack Howarth returning that stuffs that whole edge up and watch Jason Saab run through for a bulk amount of tries. I don't agree. If there's anything that Howarth has done this year that he's actually been... Look, he's had moments, as every single NRL player has. But if there's anything that he's done this year, it's his defence. I mean,
I think people are just
to fix the left side.
I think because the game before not last week, obviously he didn't play, but the week before, I think he missed a few tackles there on the edge and they found him out a little bit. And I think, really, I can't remember many more games where he's been that bad. So, if people just got to realise that, that one game is stuck in their brains because it's the most recent one. And I'm sure it's stuck in Jack's head as well. He knows he needs to be better than that game. So I think it shores up our edge a little bit, to be honest. I really do. I still think the Manly edges are going to be dangerous, and their back five are, they're back. I'm not sure about Wilson. I'm not sure what he'll do, but I'm sure he'll come in and do a job. But the other four are weapons and dangerous, and they love to shift the ball to them, and they're fast. So we will definitely need to be on our game, but I think Jack will be up for it.
Aaron, don't let me forget this comment here by Tep. We'll talk about that later on. I don't have it in the agenda, but I did have it in the back of my mind that I was going to do it. Jen, I was surprised.
Can I do the?
I was surprised the RSPCA or Peter didn't come out swinging. Yes, I think that's a really good comment, Jen. And Drake back on the Howarth stuff. He says, "Lol, Howarth is a better defender than any centre we have at the moment. He's one of our best defenders in our entire team. It's one of the things he prides himself on, and I love that about him. So, and the thing is,
I'm just going to do the Jack.
He can play either side."
Yeah, and I'll just do the Jack 50 games thing here. I took some notes to talk about Jack and where he's come from and what's happened with Jack since he's been at the Storm. So I had, that he was an East Tigers junior. In 2018, the Storm signed him as a 16-year-old to a Pathways scholarship. From 16, he was part of the 2019 Australian Schoolboys, and at 17 in 2020, they signed him on an NRL contract, and they said that he could transition into the top 30 after he finished year 12. So even by year 11, he had a top deal locked in after he finished school, which would have been end of the year. So he was locked in for the following year. And then for 2 years, he spent just at Sunshine Coast. He couldn't get a game in the ones, and Bellamy just held him back. And a lot of people had their thoughts on that, about what was going on. But from what I have been told around that Jack just didn't switch on to what it means to be a first grader. He was blessed with talent, and everyone knew he had the talent, he had the size, and he was going to be a star of the future. But he just didn't buy into what the Storm were doing. So Craig held him back for a couple of years. And even those first 2 years, I mean, he'd signed a 5-year deal for $500,000 a year. And two of those years, Bellamy didn't even use him in first grade. And mate, the NRL community was a bit shocked. They were like, how are Storm paying this much money for a bloke that hasn't even debuted? But, fast forward to now, I think you've got Jack, who has potential to be one of the best centres in the comp. He's on the fringe of Origin. And from what I've been told, I think Jack's contract next year is really high. I think they've back-ended it a bit. And the talk of Jack leaving, whether he does leave or not, I know the Storm have said that we're keeping him for next year now and he's staying. I think the talk originally the talk was around the fact that the contract is so back-ended that the Storm might have been looking to free up some money. So I don't think it's personal, and I don't think we can't use him or there's something wrong with the way he plays. I think it was just the money side of things that was at least asking the questions.
As people still need to remember how old this dude is. Like, he's been around a long time. He's played 50 games. He is still a baby. He's only just turned 23. He's a child.
Do you know, 2023, he debuted in round 27 versus the Broncos. And in that game, we rested the big dogs. We were sitting third and we couldn't drop out of the 8. We were either going to go third or fourth. We couldn't move up or we couldn't move down. So all it really meant was which team we'd play for the following week. So we rested a few of the big dogs. And in that same game, Sewer debuted and Joe Chan debuted. Same game.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like, he's a baby, and when you at being that size, he's had to change his career around in terms of where he's playing, the way he plays. He needed to move into the centres, which made him more mobile. He had to be more mobile. He had to change his mentality around defence and what he had to do with that. Like, people are sitting there saying he's injury prone. Yes, I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. But he's also a baby and has been a baby for a very long time. It's only now that he's starting to grow into his body. That one thing that I don't want is, I don't want to develop this dude, pay him what we did, and then he disappears and then goes and succeeds somewhere else because we did all the work. Like, you know what I mean? That this is one of those ones where I'm like, no, he grew up. We dealt with the injuries. He lost premierships, all that sort of stuff. I would love to see him. I think he offers so much to us. I'm a very big fan. I've said that many times before. Like as Drake is saying, as Tep is saying, as a few others are saying. So. The
injury prone thing, we said it, he was 16 games in 24, 16 games in 25, but this year, this will be his 20th game. So, I mean, I get it. The last 2 years, he's had leaner years in terms of games played, but this year at 20 games and we're in round 24 and we've had 2 buys, I think that means he's only missed 2 games, doesn't it?
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, he's been pretty consistent this year.
The math is mathing there, Azza.
I'm not great at that.
Let's go into the blueprint. How are we going to beat the Sea Eagles this weekend? I I think the Manly are vulnerable, like massively vulnerable. Their recent form hasn't been great. It, funny enough, coincides with Foz signing his extension and becoming the full-time coach. I think the Manly Eagles list is immensely good. And they can score at any whiff and give them a centimetre and they'll take 80 metres. Initially I've got here, do you want me to talk about what I've got here, Azza, or do you want me to bring...
Yeah, you lead them up.
Okay, so I've got initially, and I'm talking off the back of last week because we've got the same team. Now, having Munster come in makes a massive difference. Having Howarth come into the centres makes an enormous difference. So we've now had some experience added into shoring up with some big bodies that can defend just a little bit better, which also stops some of the little mistakes that potentially happened last week because of lack of experience. So I'm sitting here thinking, how are we going to beat the Eagles? Now, I think their pack is underrated, but it's not great. Paseka, Bullimore, I think these are all underrated dudes. Like Ola Kawatu is a man-mountain beast, but he's a whole different story. It doesn't matter what club that you're coming up against. He can do it to anybody. But I think our pack has a massive, massive advantage. Now, one thing that we did really well last week was our pack stood up, which allowed Wishart to literally be free. And Wishart could just pick up the ball off the ruck and just run, like literally just run and make simple short ball passes straight out of the play of the ball and all sorts of things. I think we have to have an ownership over the middle of the field this weekend to have any chance of winning this and stopping Manly from scoring.
Yeah, at the start of the year, before the season started, everyone's question on Manly was that their pack was too small, and they were getting Paseka back from his long-term injury last year, but everyone was worried about their pack. And then for the first, I don't know how many rounds it lasted at the start of the year, but Manly were terrible. They sacked their coach, and it took Foz to come in and free them up to bring out their pack's energy, and a few of those guys there really went to another level. Like, I mean, I think Bullimore's been playing really well. I think Nathan Brown at times is a good forward who comes on and provides a bit of energy. I also think Paseka is on his day very hard to handle. But
it's all built up one dude, though.
If you flip the coin and you look at our pack compared to their pack, I think we definitely man up pretty well. And if our big boys lead from the front, lay a good platform, and then I don't know how we're going to use our bench forward wise. There's a few options there. I think Hinchy last week did a great job. When he came on. He ran straight. He found his front and he got up to his feet and had a quick play of the ball. So I think Hinchy will get another run this week. He's earned that, whether that's 20, 25 minutes, something like that. I think that will happen. But I also think one of those boys from outside the 17 will get a run, whether that is Hetherington or maybe Stanley. I don't know. But I think probably Hetherington will get a run this week myself.
I'm interested because the reserves is Satra, Kewen and Mania. I don't think any of them come on. I don't. Like, I would love...
It depends.
...to bring Satrick
It depends what happens with money. Yeah.
But if I just take this list as what it is, I don't think any of them come through. Hewen can't play... Or he can, he's huge. But I don't know if you're going to play... If you're bringing him on to come and play 20 or so through the middle.
The other thing is if Blore...
You've got Blore, Mawali, Hinchy, Chan and Hetherington. Like... Who's going to give Stefano the 20-30 rest, King the 30-40 rest? Even Liero.
We've been saying it. Yeah, we've been saying, Clarkie's going to go back through the middle and have a run in there. It's just not happening. So, I mean, we could say it again and Blore could come on and play 50 minutes on the edge and then Clarkie could be that extra man on the bench and then, sure, the bench is big enough and... I know, it's like, I feel like a broken record. Yeah. And I feel like it should happen again. I really do. That's what I would like to see. But Bellamy's just putting the faith in the big fella, and the big fella's making his tackles and he's getting through. Well, last week he got through 65 minutes and they changed him out of there. I mean, if you can get through 65 minutes again Someone's going to have a 15, 20-minute stint. I mean, last week it was Hinchy. I think Hinchy deserves a few more this week, and it might be someone else who gets that short stint, whether it is Moale, whether it is Hetherington, or even Stanley if they want to give a young buck a run.
I think... What do I want to say? I want to talk about the forward pack and how important that is, which we've just done, how that frees up Wishart. But why was Watson so good last week? And why was Tolau quite good and handy in the halves last week?
I don't know. I really like the tempo that Watson plays with. He rests back on his heels or he gets on his toes, and as soon as he does that, he makes the defenders think. So whether he's going to drop the hammer and go fast, or he's going to hold up the play, and like I see a lot of that with Isaiah Katoa, he's probably the best in the league at it, I think, when he holds the defender up and then has a quick turn of speed. Now, I'm definitely not saying Hayden Watson is Isaiah Katoa, but we're talking about a young kid here who has played his first game in first grade last week, and he looked like he's got what it takes to develop into a premier half in the competition. In the next 2, 3, 4 years, how does it look like? I mean, we're going to talk about it later, but what does it look like with his transition? And for now, whilst we're missing someone in the halves, it's best to let him steer the ship, and especially in a moment like this where the game really, I mean, the result matters, but we're not pushing for a final spot.
So I think he was good last week because he was told, you have no pressure, go out and run, just go and play. And then what happened before that was massive to him. Wishart picking the ball up and running, Stefano playing so well like he did. That freed up everything. Now what the Manly are going to have to do is they're going to see Munster and go, okay, if we just let Munster have a bit of a run here and he gets a bit of a pep in his step, we're in trouble. So I think they're going to focus on stopping that, and then Watson can come through and sort that out, because forward run, Wishart, Munster this week, Watson last week, Tolau if you can come off the bench. I'm excited to see Watson as in a second game. I think Matthew's come up with a really good point, and it says Hamoli scares me. Hamoli scares me every week. Control their halves and have them end their sets on our 40 to 50. Give them no field position. We need to just control our controllables. Less errors, complete at 90%, less penalties and 6 agains. You know what's funny about that comment, Aaron? And what this makes me feel like is that's a pretty easy blueprint for a Storm win every single week. The problem is we haven't been doing it.
No, it's that, Hamoli on the edge is definitely dangerous, and they're going to send him one out wider. They're going to run him at the halves. I mean, last week, Hayden
Watson had issues with kick out.
That's right. There's a couple of times he got bumped last week, Watson, but every single time he put his body in the road, which, that's the thing that impresses me. He's 19 years old. I mean, he started the year in Flegg, and then he got transitioned into Cup, and then he got a debut in first grade, and his first task in first grade against William and Kickout. Now, I don't know what the weight difference is, but I've got here that Hayden Watson is 80 kilos and 180 centimetres tall. Now, I reckon if we're going to talk about Hamole or Viliami, I think we're talking in the buck tens, somewhere around the buck tens. It's a big boy to put your body in front of, and you need to get your big balls out to do that.
Yep, I agree, and I think Matthew has been absolutely smashing it out with the points. Now, Matthew, funny enough, this is actually in my key matchup as the only key matchup I put down, because I think there's key matchups along the park, but I don't think particularly 1v1 players. I think it's edges versus edges. I think the forward packs versus the forward pack. I think the halves pairing is going to be good, but geez, I'm so keen to watch the battle of the rookie halves in Watson versus Joey Walsh. Joey Walsh has shown that he is exceptionally talented and is going to have a really good future in this game. What a good matchup that's going to be.
I mean, Joey Walsh has played 19 games this year, so he's actually had a really good...
A lot of them off the bench or not played.
Correct, but he's been there around the team 19 times this year, and probably made the park probably probably 10 games I reckon he might have got on the park, maybe a couple less, maybe 9 or maybe 8 games he's actually got on the park. But a couple of those he's actually got to steer the ship and start at 7. And in those games he tends to run for 100 metres when he starts. So he also likes to run the ball. But what I've seen with Joey is that he's not scared to throw the ball, and he will take risks and throw passes, which call them what you want, but they are the kind that they're either hit or miss. It's rocks and diamonds. And don't get me wrong, he's a talented kid. But I think if you can get in his face and you can pressure him and make him make a mistake early, I think you can rattle him a little bit. And I mean, that goes to say with any half that's coming into the game. If you get in their head, you get them early. So for us, I think we'd be sending the second row at Joey early and really trying to get in his head and make him rush his decisions, because he loves to throw a pass that's wild.
He does. Casey has made a good point. We will see a bit more of Watson's kicking game with Money coming off a knee injury, and also Money not wanting to really... It's not his game. Like, he does it because he can, but he doesn't really want to. I think that's really good. It'll be interesting to see. I'm really keen to see Watson's game management skills here and how he can lead us around the park a bit.
Do you remember when we were watching the under-19s Origin game and the first thing I texted you? Fuck, this kid can kick a mile.
Oh, no, I don't remember that. But yeah, there you go.
He's got a big boot on him for a little kid. Like, I mean, he's 80 kilos. He kicks it high, mate. He kicks it long. He's got it in him. So, yeah, as Casey said, this is his chance to really show that game management and leadership. I mean, it's not often you say that about a 19-year-old in his second game of first grade, but he's been given the keys. Let him play.
Honestly, man, like, we're getting that many comments through here that I just think are top notch, that I reckon I'm going to throw this agenda out and just read off this and talk about what the people are saying. But Tep, we offloaded a lot last week. Aaron, we spoke about this at the start of our review show last week. Do you think Bellamy gave the order to let them create a bit of second phase? 100%. That was very clear that that's what we tried to do last week, and I do have that as a point of something I wanted to bring up again, so it's a good time now, optimal. I think we just need to play that free, chaotic game this weekend.
Yeah, if our forwards can get into the line and turn, like, I mean, you see Trent do it a lot, and Steph tries to do it a lot, which is hit the line, turn and spin, and then drop it out the back to either a Wishy or even a Sua or someone that's up, pushing and supporting through the middle. And obviously last week, Bellamy just released the shackles a bit. I mean, he is a bit of a, I'll say dictator, because the way he wants to play is to limit your mistakes and to really play the process and get to certain places on the field. But last week we weren't going to die on the hill. Like It was do or die. You either play to win or your season is over. So if we didn't throw the ball last week and we hold it and we complete at 85%, but we can't score any points, but we lose the game anyway, then you go into the sheds and you have this what if moment. What if we had a chance? What if we threw the ball? What if we took a few more risks? Could have we won the game? So I love that we did it last week, and yeah, I expect to see it for the next 4 weeks as well.
Christine's made a mention of, is the lack of NRL experience as in the intensity telling at the end of our games?
Sorry,
is the lack of NRL experience? So basically it's saying that there's a lot of young players without NRL experience, and we get to the end of the games and that is telling.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, it's just been a horrible, consistent. We just see it week in, week out. It's been haunting us since the start of the year. So I don't know what it is. I don't think fitness is going to come into it, and I think these guys can play the 80. I think it's between the ears, and something happens, a moment or something we lose, or a chance that we goes begging, and I think our heads go down and it gets into our head, and then it just snowballs from there. And I don't know how we fix it, but I can't put it down to lack of NRL experience, because even in reserve grade, games go for 80 minutes. Everyone knows that. So I don't think so.
I think the point's valid, though, like I understand playing reserves to playing against in NRL is different. Different bodies, it's faster. So I guess you get more tired. There are different situations that happen. The game doesn't have like at the whim of a reserves game to a whim of the NRL. The NRL can change just like that. Whereas I've watched reserve games that are pretty much like it doesn't go like it. There is no. It's just a consistent flow. So I understand the sentiment, but I do also agree with you.
Yeah, no, I do understand what you're saying, but I mean, like looking at last week's game, I think in the back end of that game, I think the three people that annoyed me most weren't the kids. Like, I mean, they were the experienced guys that made errors there in the
100%.
back of the game. Like Kingy wasn't great towards the end. He bounced off a few tackles, let a few things go missing. Meany, silly offload when, like, why are we throwing that ball? Like, it's early in the tackle count and it's just a risk.
The drops.
I mean, it's these guys that...
The King Port offensive drops.
Well, the McDonald was early in the game, but he's another one. He's a leader. He's in the leadership group and he drops that ball. It's these guys that are more experienced making the errors last week. So just again, to say that maybe it is the fact that we've got these kids and everyone's trying to compensate or whatever it is for the people around them that breaks the concentration there. But yeah, I do see what you're saying for sure.
I'm just going back and forth trying to find comments that fit each other. Mikey, the one about Sewer is one I'll bring up in a minute. Casey, we have spoken about this a few times. Do you want to do a really quick summary of the Josiah Bahulu was a beast for the Titans? Is it his fitness letting him down as to why we haven't seen much of him in first grade? We have spoken about it a fair bit, but just give Casey, because I think this is one of the first times I've noticed Casey in the chat.
Oh, I've seen him a couple, maybe, but not back when we were talking about Josiah. Like, both Trav and I think that maybe Josiah's just a little bit big for now. Like, he's got that. Like, when Lazarus came in from the Falcons, he was dominating in the Falcons and could get up and down at the speed of that game. But when it comes to NRL and you've got to put that extra bit in your tackles and you use a little bit more energy in your defense and then you've got to get back to 10 and then you need to lead that line speed, I think that Bellamy just... Mate, after 10 minutes, we seen him struggling to get back and we seen him sucking it in big time. And if Bellamy's got one special job for you, and that's to come off the bench and cause impact, basically it means you need to defend. Like, you can't ignore the defensive end, and then you've got to come on and you've got to have an impact through the middle, and we just didn't see it. So I think Josiah's got to go away and have a really big preseason and just work on the tank, and then... Mate, I'm with you. I want to see him unleashed. I want to see him cause chaos because we know he's got it in him. He's played 80-minute games in the twos, which means the tank is there at a slower pace game. Let's try and get that up to first grade and build that tank so that, he can do 30, 40, 50 minutes if needed, which I don't think we will use him for that. But let's get him up to that in first grade, and then he can have a real impact.
Yeah, I was very excited about that signing, and at this point in time, I have fallen well and truly off him. I think there's things he needs to do. I have said that I reckon he'd be a better union player, which is a shame. But his body just needs to change with the way that this game is now being played. Matthew, you have said we can do it. They've shown it that they just drop off after about 50 minutes when the inexperienced lad's just getting fatigued. Then our experienced players trying too hard to overcompensate, especially in D. I think that's kind of what we just said before, isn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, and it's a fair point.
Jen, tongue-in-cheek comment. But should we spend some of the preseason working at Melbourne General Cemetery? We need to learn to bury teams again. Yes.
Be nice.
That would be nice. Drake,
yeah.
Do you think the way contracts work these days with players breaking and so many clubs are always looking for good halfbacks, do you think with Hughes still contracted till 2030 and Watson is also contracted to 2030 that we will see him wanting to play first grade at another club if he doesn't get a first grade shot full-time at the Storm? As a big comment. Basically
we had a talking point about Watson and Bowden getting signed till 2030 tonight. We were going to talk about it. And
I've still got those talking points coming up.
do we want to run with
Just go now. Just do it now.
Yeah.
So we announced today that Watson and Bowden signed till the end of 2030. So we are 26. We've got them for 4 more years. Both back off the back of first games. Debuts last week were fantastic. We've now locked them away for long term.
Yeah, and look, I can tell you now, those deals weren't done this week. They've been signed a while ago now. Both of those deals have been done. This is just the time that Storm have chosen to announce it. So that's great. They both played last week. It's the perfect time to, whilst it's hot, whilst everyone's excited for it, it's great. I actually wrote there that Watson was actually born in Geelong. Did you know that?
I didn't.
He's a Geelong-born kid, and he moved up and was raised in Queensland. So there you go. He's actually a Melbourne boy, raised in Queensland. But what I said about this particular comment about Hughes being there in 2030, I said that I would assume that Watson will move into the 6 role first. I would think Munster's signed for 2 more years. Well, he's been offered 2 more years, which would be 28 and 29. So that would leave 2030 as a chance to get into the 6 jersey, and Hughesy would still be signed for 2030. At that time, Hughesy would be 35 and Munster would be, that's all right, Munster would be 34. So I think there's also a potential that Watson's the perfect 14 before that. So we haven't signed Tolau long-term yet. And we do have Satrix locked up for a couple more years. So I think the idea would be to slowly move Watson into the 14 position and give him that wishy type role. He can cover the 6, he can cover the 7, and he can cover the 9. He can do that all quite easily. So I think that would be the plan. And then, move into the 6. And then when Hughesy rolls out, put him into the 7. But he hits the ground with a perfect apprenticeship. He's actually been used in first grade. He's developed in different positions. He's become that elite halfback by the time he actually starts full time in the number 7 jersey.
And make the most of moments like this, where this wouldn't have happened if we were injury free. So I think it's fantastic. G'day. See you later, Vinny. Good night over there at midnight. What have we got here, Jen?
Maddie Quinnell's one.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Whilst we're there, we'll do the Bowden one as well. Can I just do the Bowden sign until 2030? Like Bowden, he signed with us at 17. Look, he's only young. He wouldn't have played last week if Satrick didn't do that hip drop in the 2s. So, he's got an unexpected chance last week. And it's, as I said, perfect time to announce that he was signed. He was already signed before that game. I know that for fact, but just a good time to announce it. I would expect that Jai Bowden plays through New South Wales Cup off the bench for a bit now. And I think that Satrix will get his chance. Satrick got a 2-year deal to 2028. And I think it's pretty telling that the Storm have signed Bowden through till 2030, because they've given Satrick an opportunity now to play a couple of years and really see if he can grab that jersey. Now, Satrick's got that little window there till 2028. And by 2028, I think you'll see a decision will be made, basically, whether they offer Satrick another contract or Bowden becomes the new replacement hooker there. So that battle for that extra hooking jersey is well and truly on. We've got 2 really good ones there, and it's going to heat up now.
It is. All right, let's go to, we are lacking a finisher, ex-Katoa type. So guess who we get next year?
One of the best finishers in the comp.
And we'll get them back, and we'll get a healthy X back. We are fired up. I can't wait for 2027, but I'm very, very eager for these next 6 weeks and see how it plays out with all the young talent that we've got. And we haven't really even spoken about how good Keeley has been since. What about this comment here? Tep says, will Seve get any more game time this season?
I reckon Bellamy will give him a run this year. I mean, Seve is one of those players that Bellamy loves. He works his ass off at training. He's one of those guys that's a really nice guy. He can play in a few different positions. I think definitely. I don't think definitely. I think I'd like to see it, because I really rate Seve. His work rate is unbelievable. He gets through 20 runs, 200 metres when he plays. He's a wrecking ball. He takes those tough carries. And last week we seen it with STB just didn't get in there and he didn't have enough runs. I mean, this week, if he's going to play on the wing, I reckon Bellamy will give him a directive that he needs to have 15 runs. I think it's minimal 15 this week, because last week I think he only had 3 or 4 for the game, and that's just not enough, because it puts too much pressure on the other backs to get out of our own end when we just don't have the cattle there to do it. So, yeah, that's my take. I think we get Seve in there, give him a few runs.
Is he healthy? Is he?
He's back. He's back.
Yeah.
So I think he's back in twos. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I hope so, because God, he's a freak. I love him. Let's get on to Matthew, and this was one of our talking points. We just like how good's having 2 ex-Storm players in the Origin head coaching role. So Matt King,
he's read our notes.
Player number 69 gets appointed as New South Wales Blues coach. Officially announced today. I think it's bloody fantastic. I hate the New South Wales Blues with a freaking passion, but I love that our Storm guys are infesting the competition.
I read lots of comments today. Oh, how's a bloke with no coaching experience come in and coach New South Wales? Well,
Hashtag Billy
I just want to jump.
Laurie Daly.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Slater had less experience than Matt King, because Kingy actually has been the assistant to Trent Robinson for the last 10 years at the Roosters.
Yep.
He's seen a few premierships. He's been around the traps in some very successful teams. He's also been the assistant Blues coach since 2024 and put his hand up for the job back then, but Daly got the job there. So, and I think fair enough, Daly got the job back then. I'm not saying it was the wrong decision, but I mean, the pecking order there probably suggests Daly would be in front of Kingy. The bit that I find interesting is New South Wales gave him a 2-year deal for 27 and 28. And I mean,
guess who's coming off contract at the end of next year?
Yeah, I know, but the talk was that in 2028, Ivan Cleary would walk straight into the job. So I thought that was interesting that they gave a 2-year deal, because that now shuts the door on the first year at least for Ivan. Or maybe Ivan just said, I'm going to go on a big holiday around Europe with my wife for a year and have a rest, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to take the job. So that's probably my take.
That, I think, is a very good synopsis. Aaron comments on Watson are bang on. He came through as a 9 and switched to the halves. I like that. Shannon, he says, Trav might need some tips from you as a Victorian living in Queensland. Cheered when Moses Leo levelled it up before halftime at Carina Leagues Club. Whole place looked at me like I'd committed a crime. Listen, I was born in Cairns. I am a Queenslander, not a Victorian living in Queensland. I just lived most of my life there. Please correct me if I'm wrong, he says. Matthew, I was young. Cronk played off the bench 04-05. I don't remember myself. I was young.
Yeah, he started as a bench player. Yeah, correct.
Drake says Seve is a strong defender and can also find the line. Matthew replies, Drake Sampson, the goggles flying off against the Panthers last year, scoring in the second half is iconic. 100% it is. Tep says King will coach South once Bennett retires. I think Wayne's an immortal. I don't think he ever will die or retire.
Yeah, fair call. Skeletor, old Skeletor.
Yeah. Okay, so there's another talking point that I want to cover before we end off, and it's the fines that just happened. So let's, Aaron, I might just read this out. So far in 2026, not including round 22, because the charges were still being confirmed when we did this, players have been placed on report 229 times. Of those reports, 196 have resulted in fines, totaling $265,700, an average fine of $1,355.61. 33 have resulted in suspensions totaling 55 matches, an average suspension of 1.67 matches per game, per player. Aaron, we were quite pissed off about the fines that we copped and what happened with Max King and things on the weekend. Let's delve into this. I'm sure there's a few pretty eager people in the chat to get around this.
Yeah, like I can see why the NRL prefers to give fines. I mean, the idea is to have their talent out on the park. So the game's about entertainment, and if your stars are missing weeks through minor offences, it means that the best product isn't getting put on TV. And if the best product isn't getting put on TV and there's less eyeballs, blah, 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 Vlandis gets the shits, that's how it works. So I get that side of it, but I also understand the other side as well. The NRL can then say, if you do something minor, we can make a bit of money. Now they've made $250,000 just this year on fines, on things. It's just like revenue raising, basically.
Isn't it?
They
It
just put
literally is.
it's yeah, it is. It's like a red light camera or a bloody mobile phone camera stuck on the side of the road, just to catch you when you slip up and you do something accidental that actually isn't that bad. So
Do we legitimately think, though, that it is doing anything? Because Corey Horsburgh in round 15 got a careless high tackle and a $3,000 fine. Corey, and now to be fair, I'm a very big fan of Corey of Big Red. So I'm just picking this out. But Corey Horsburgh in round 10, careless high tackle, $1,800 fine. Corey Horsburgh round 8, careless high tackle, $1,000 fine. 3 times this year, careless high tackle, 3 fines. It's grown 1,000, 1,800, now 3,000.
do I think it's doing anything? I don't think the player goes out there intentionally trying to hit someone in the head, but some people are more aggressive than others, and some people, like I know when I'm playing basketball, man, I try and steal it out of their hands too, and I slap the shit out of their hands every time because my hands are just no good, and I'm probably going in there too aggressive trying to get it. So I can tell you, Big Red's probably just got his little brain going 100 miles an hour, and he just fucking just goes hard and accidentally hits him in the head. So he's probably on 800 grand for the year. He's probably paid $10,000 in fines. He's probably all good.
As if the club or a sponsor doesn't probably pay them anyways. But
I don't think they're allowed.
yeah, well, but we know that that's happening.
Yeah.
Chen says, are the fines tax free? I like that comment. And Terry, I've always liked Max, but he was a grub last week. Now I agree, and I said this on the review show, and I said this in our group chat with Aaron, is that Max, I like Max. I think he's just a really good goer. He just does what he has to do, and he plays really well. But there was some really, really poor results, tackles last week, and all he got was a shitty little fine, and we copped the HIA, and this is where the rules and things happen. But I just don't think that this is anything at all like what. I don't think it's doing anything. I don't think this system works. It doesn't deter the action. Players just do it, and if it happens, we deal with the consequences afterwards. And half the time, or more than half the time, as you can see, it doesn't result in anything anyway. So there is no consequence. Yeah, I'm a bit over the whole system at the moment. Fines are probably just suspended fines, and the NRL or clubs just get the players to do some sponsors work, and the money doesn't come out of their pocket. And the fact is that we're talking about shit like this, and saying this, third-party payments and all of that bullshit that's in contracts. It's just the NRL is just not black and white. It's just a joke for a game that should just simply be black and white. I've got one more point that I wanted to come up with. I said, don't let me forget. Rocco Berry, the question I think was Tep about Rocco Berry and signing with the Storm. The last I heard, and I did a little bit of research just before, was that he had a medical, but I haven't heard how that medical went.
I'm pretty sure it's done. I can't 100% confirm it. I think we might be in a cooling off period, and I think the Storm will announce it once that's done. What that means for 2027 is very interesting, though, because, does Rocco Berry expect to come here and play? And if he does, obviously Bronson Cherry is going to play one edge, and that other, like one centre position, and then the other centre position is up for grab. It's going to be Howarth or it's going to be Rocco Berry. So is there a world where Jack gets moved to the second row if Katoa doesn't come back, and then we go with a second row of Keeley and Howarth?
There's absolutely a world for that. And I think that would be wild. The only issue I've got, there's no doubt over the career of like 50-odd games that Rocco Berry's played, that he has talent. The problem is that he hasn't been able to stay on the field. He's 25, I think, this year, from an article I read a couple of weeks ago. I think if he gets his body right, the dude's got some serious talent. Mixed on the opposite side to Cherry as our centres, I think is just wildly good.
Yeah, like I would like to see that. More than that, I'd like to see Katoa back, and I'd like to see Howarth at centre, and I'd like to see Cherry at the other centre. Like That's what I'd like to see, Katoa come back. But let's be realistic. That ball's out of our hands, and we do need to have another option there. The thing is, if we can fill that other edge, whether it be Katoa, whether it be Howarth, then we get Lasardi and we get Clark back through the middle. And then our forward pack looks absolutely deadly. Like, it looks unreal. If you've got Lasardi and Clark back through the middle, sitting on the bench, and you've got whether Howarth or Katoa on the edge, it changes everything.
Casey, no, he is not coming off contract till end of 2028.
1 more year.
He's got 2 more years.
2 more years, was it?
Yep, he has 2 more years. That's basically it. Is there anything you'd like to talk about?
I think we went there. Yeah, there was a fair bit to get through, and I think we got through it all pretty easily. We didn't even try.
No, we didn't. We scrapped the agenda this week because all the comments were getting in there, and we were just having a good chat. I think that was great. It's good to let everyone get things off their chest. Matthew, I hope your footy training gets cancelled more often, because I love that you were in here having a chat. Just one really quick one, and it's we will be going live straight after the game on Saturday. Aaron,
5 o'clock.
It'll be about 5 o'clock. We will go live. This will be another community one. So anyone in the community that wants to join in, come on, get up on the screen. We'll show you. And then we'll just discuss how the game went and any questions and things that you want. I'm very keen for that. So that's that one. There's a couple little comments that have come through. Matthew says, agree, as Katoa doesn't come back, Howarth to second row and Berry to centre. Imagine Howarth knowledge of a centre in second row. Both that aerial threat he could bring. Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen him really do a lot of aerial stuff, though. So
Chuck Terry's comment there, just up there. It's a perfect on the back of that one.
Katoa said in the clubhouse last week he was so excited to be coming back. Terry, that is freaking music to my ears.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's coming back, because we're waiting on a decision from an expert that can say he can. But trust me, he wants to come back. Like, if he gets the green light and he's allowed to play under any circumstances, sign a waiver, fucking whatever he has to do, he is keen to come back. So I reckon it'll happen. Whether he cops another head knock and that is a short-lived little experience, I'm not sure. But I do think he comes back. But just can he stay out there is the question.
And Millie said, don't forget, we get Coates back next year. Don't you worry, Millie. We have not forgotten.
I've almost forgot how good that is.
There you go. There you go. That's a good one to end on, everybody. Get around our sponsors. Follow the podcast. Give us a review. That is all the free things that you can do. Like, subscribe, do all that. Get into YouTube. We're trying to get that up to 1,000 followers. So if you could just get onto YouTube and just follow us as a subscription. It's free. It just helps. But that 1,000 subscribers means we can go live on YouTube, which just gets more people through the door on podcasts like tonight. Have a good one, everybody. Good luck, Stormies. Have a great week. See you on Saturday at 5 o'clock.